Tribe, how you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is a retro review for World Season 4 episode. Oh, shoot. I'll have it in the description box. Anyway, my bad. It just totally went blank. But this is the episode. It's a cute one. It's one of the episodes that I vaguely remember, but I didn't remember all the details. Season 4, episode 6. I didn't remember all the episodes. All the details, but it was like a Twilight Zone theme. It's called the Exam Zone, right? So we have three different storylines in this particular episode. We have Whitley, we have Dwayne, and we have Freddie. So Whitley's storyline, she's in the exam zone. Remember, Whitley stayed on for another year of school so she could get a degree that she could actually use to become an art buyer. And one of her classes is accounting. And who is her professor? The incomparable Jennifer Lewis. Now, let me tell you something. Jennifer Lewis is looking good. I remember her. I remember this episode. Like, she is looking very femme fatale, honey, with the big, 90s hair and the boobs and the good power suit. And she is giving Whitley the, you better get me my work. She saddles up to her all nice. Hey, how you doing? Whitley's like, hey, professor, how you doing? She's like, so, when am I going to get my work? She said, I really, really would hate to fail you, but if I don't have my spreadsheets, she had to do these accounting spreadsheets. She said, if I don't have my spreadsheets by noon tomorrow, baby, you are going to get an F. And Whitley is like, I'm so sorry. She said, well, do you think I can get another extension? She said, hell no. Okay. So now Whitley is all, wigged out about, oh my goodness, I got to get this done. I got to get it done. Which of course she waited to the last minute. It's Whitley, y'all. It is Whitley. Now what Dwayne is dealing with is Dwayne has become Professor Colonel Taylor's teaching assistant, right? And he's actually pretty much teaching one of his classes. Well, guess who happens to be in that class? You got it. Terrence, Colonel Taylor's son. Now, Terrence is cutting class. He's not showing up for class. And I'm sure there's a part of Terrence that feels like, you won't fail me, because if you fail me, my dad is going to get on you. So he's kind of doing his own thing, and Dwayne is stressing out about it, telling him, you need to get to class, you need to show up for your midterm, or it's going to be a problem. Well, on the flip side, Colonel Taylor, of course, is like, Dwayne, how's my son doing? He thinks his son is going to be this math genius, because he's a math genius. But he's also holding Dwayne's grad school applications in the palm of his, recommendations in the palm of his hand as well. And he's saying, Colonel Taylor's like, well, how's my son doing? Well, what part of math does he like the most? Which one is his favorite? And Dwayne, of course, he said, you know what? He really, I can't tell you which one is his favorite. he just kind of spreads it all around, right? But of course, Dwayne is stressed out because he knows that he can't really fail Terrence, even though Terrence probably deserves to fail because he's got Colonel Taylor over here and who's holding his recommendations. Now, the third person we have in this situation is Miss Freddie. Now, y'all know how Freddie is. We remember Freddie from her freshman year when she was, getting on everybody's nerve in her poetry class and how they kind of had to, teach her a lesson. Well, she's doing the same thing in this African American Studies class. The professor is telling them about the midterm, and he's telling them what's on the midterm, and she's like, well, everything should be on the midterm. And of course, they all looking at her like, girl, if you don't shut up. She said, well, don't get mad at me because y'all didn't keep up with the reading, and I think we should do this, and I think we should do that, and maybe, there shouldn't be any easy questions. Like, she's just getting on everybody's nerves. And of course, they're looking at her side eye like, Freddie, are you serious? And Kim even said, Freddie, remember last year when you got stressed out? You know what happens when you do too much and you give yourself sensory overload, right? So we see Freddie studying with Kim and with her cousin. They're all in the class together, and she starts hearing voices. She actually started hearing voices before they left class, but she kind of just brushed it off. But she starts hearing this voice in her head, basically mimicking her. And she starts talking back. And of course, Kim and, her cousin are looking at her like, girl, who you talking to? And she was like, y'all don't hear that? Y'all don't hear the voices? Y'all don't hear it? And she is like, jumping up in her seat, and she's looking all around, and she's just like, are you sure? Are you sure you don't hear it? Are you sure you don't hear it? And they eventually just leave her sitting there, child, because she is like losing it. Now, Whitley, on the other hand, is trying to get into the apartment, and Jaleesa is like, "Girl, do you not remember that we agreed that you wouldn't come home tonight and you would find somewhere to go because I have a date, and this is what I'm doing?" And she was like, "Yeah, but that was before I thought I had to get this assignment done, and I gotta do this assignment before tomorrow." And she was like, "Well, you need to go to the library or something." And she said, "I can't go to the library. The library is full because, of course, it's midterms." And so she says, Jaleesa's like, "Oh, well, like, you need to find somewhere else to go." Okay. And of course, we see Jaleesa with her man later on. And Walter was actually the moderator for this. He's playing the Rod Sterling part. And he goes in there talking about something. Let me check out who the woman I almost married is dating these days. And, that was a cute little moment. So then she ends up going across the hall to Dwayne and Ron's apartment. Dwayne's not there, but Ron is. And of course, Ron never passes up a chance to flirt with Whitley and to let Whitley know exactly how he feels about her. And so she's trying to study, and he's staring at her, and then he's trying to smell her, and he's trying to, kiss her on her neck or whatever he's trying to do, which of course ends up being a problem, and Whitley ends up leaving there. Whitley shows up at Gilbert right at the same time that Freddie is totally losing it, and Freddie is like, "Don't you hear that? Don't you hear her? Don't you hear her?" And Freddie, and of course Whitley is like, "What are you talking about? I don't hear anything." She was like, "If you didn't want me to study with you, that's all you had to say." Which of course, that's not what it was. Freddie is just totally losing it. So Dwayne does eventually come home. Now, this part of the episode, I wasn't sure if it was really real or if Dwayne was dreaming and realized that he needed to do something, but Dwayne comes home, the apartment is empty, and all of a sudden, Colonel Taylor comes out of the bedroom and starts yelling at Dwayne about how his son isn't doing this and his son isn't coming to class, and how he's going to get Dwayne and he's going to tear up his, he's going to tear up his recommendations if he doesn't, get Terrence there. And I was like, why would Colonel Taylor be coming out of his bedroom? So I said, maybe that's a dream, but Dwayne realizes how serious it is. So Dwayne actually goes, gets Terrence, and actually tapes Terrence down to the chair and makes him study all night. And Terrence is he's not a dummy when it comes to math. He's just totally uninterested in applying himself when it comes to math. Again, I think he feels like people expect me to be good in math because of my father, and Dwayne ain't gonna fail me because of my father, and he's got freshmanitis. Like, I think it's a combination of the three, because we know that Terrence is a, silly child, right? At least his freshman year. So Dwayne is just practicing with him and practicing with him and practicing with him, and he finally gets him to click, and he finally gets enough out of him. So they go to take the exam. Now, he don't blow the water out the roof, okay? But he does enough to pass so that Dwayne can justify giving him a passing grade. And of course, Colonel Taylor is just, he is so excited about it. He's loving it. That he gives Dwayne his recommendations. Oh, and his paycheck, which we know Dwayne is needing his paycheck, child. Then we see Freddie show up for class. And it's an oral exam. And so when it's her turn to answer the question, she starts hearing the voices in her head. Well, next thing you know, Freddie starts yelling at those voices, and then she ends up getting into a fight with herself in the middle of class. She rolling around on the floor. She punching the sky. But she ends up throwing that voice out into the hallway, and she comes back, and she's ready to answer the question, and she blows the question through the roof. And of course, Professor Randolph was like, "Okay, but are you okay? Like, I'm glad that you could tell me who Nat Turner was, but baby, are you okay?" But she says, "Nope, I'm good. I'm good now." And I was like, Lord, Freddie. Now over to the pit. Whitley finally found somewhere to finish up doing her spreadsheets, even though as soon as she woke up, she spilled coffee over them. Jennifer Lewis comes along and says, "Oh, Whitley, I see you finished my work." She said, "But baby, I want to read them, not drink them." She said, "You got 2 more hours to get it together and fix these, and I will, and I'll see you then." So ultimately, everybody was able to do what they needed to do to be successful in the midterm zone. Again, it was a cute theme. It was a very cute theme episode. It's got the whole little, what I say at the beginning of this, Twilight Zone, theme to it. But the next episode is the episode we've all been waiting for, baby. It is one of the favorite, it's an iconic episode in the history of A Different World. So I will get y'all that one as soon as possible. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.